the Kennel, Cleveland Football Podcast. We just did the whole episode, but Gian did not hit record, so we are going to do it again. Yeah, it's okay. Mistakes happen to the best of us, and Gian's, one of the best of us, so that's what happens. But probably going to be a little bit of a shorter episode, just as a result of literally repeating everything we just said to each other and no one else, so that's all right. Browns win, that's what's most important. Had the Browns lost and this same thing occurred, I would have been like, well, no episode this week. We're just gonna have to move on. But overall, it's all good. The Kennel's here. Stevie James, Gian Trotta. How you doing, brother? Again?
Doing great again.
Sick. Are we recording?
We are
Can
recording.
You confirm?
Yes.
I see that the video's recording. Confirm that audio's recording.
Yeah.
Levels are happening. Fantastic. So
recording. Now everybody knows.
I had to do it. I'm sorry.
Whatever.
Hey, for what it's worth, if you go back a handful of episodes, you can watch an entire episode where we're completely out of focus.
Yeah.
So, you never know what's going to happen, but at least it was usable. Anyway, Stevie James here, Gian Trotta. The Football Kennel Podcast is in the house. I never called it that, but I did just now. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook at The Football Kennel. No the in there, just at Football Kennel. And make sure if you're watching on YouTube to hit the like button, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Leave a comment, whatever you want to do. And if you're on any other thing, just follow and you get the idea. It's going to be a beautiful thing. So with that being said, the Browns are victorious. We beat the Raiders 10-7. Not the Raiders. The Texans.
Great start.
Yes.
Second start.
Yeah, it was flawless on the other one. But that's okay. So let's get into this game review.
Game review.
Texans come to Cleveland, and the Texans lost. Browns win. We won 10-7. Browns are 6-3. The Texans are now 2-7. Romeo Crennel gets served a loss by his former team, the Cleveland Browns. And of course, we all know that our victory was due to the running back tandem of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. So, great news there. Nick Chubb is back.
Nick Chubb is back from the Batcave, and he is fantastic yet again. Another huge game. And you can tell that he's really the difference maker that this offense needs. And not to live in the past, but it would have been really great to have him against the Raiders, along with Wyatt Teller, Austin Hooper, etc., obviously. But injuries happen. You can't sit here and say what if. So it is what it is. But we get him back today, and he comes back in a big way. We get a beautiful compliment of Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, able to dominate the ground. And we talked about this in the previous episode, but Kareem Hunt served, I think, very admirably in Nick Chubb's offense. Had a lot of good moments, but ultimately was unable to break 100 yards, and we had no rushing touchdowns in Nick Chubb's absence. The first game he's back, Chubb and Hunt go over 100 yards, and Nick Chubb's able to get a touchdown, really technically a second one if he wanted it, but he's too much of a badass to do that kind of thing.
To pad the stats, I guess. Another game, really, where the wind and the weather forced it to be kind of one-dimensional in what both teams really were able to do offensively. And I think it's great to notice what the guys like Nick Chubb, obviously you mentioned, Wyatt Teller, all these guys, Austin Hooper coming back from injury, what kind of impact they're able to have, where even going back to as far back as I would say even the Steelers, it would have been nice to have these guys, and they probably would have made a complete difference in how we would have gone towards those games offensively. But it's great to see them, the Browns, being able to overcome, another one-dimensional weather-impacting game. Due to these guys coming back. Yeah,
and it's big time. And I think this is the kind of situation where you talk about, it's been since we've been bad for so long, AFC North football, the weather, the elements, like that stuff really hasn't played in our favor because we haven't been any good. But I think this is a game where you can directly point to what happened against the Raiders and the lessons that were learned in that game and those carrying over into this game. And of course, like I already said, having Nick Chubb back, Wyatt Teller, etc., that obviously makes a difference as well. But if you look at it from a play calling standpoint, I think we were ready for this game. We didn't take any deep shots down the field. If you look at Deshaun Watson and his struggles, he wasn't able to, and this is a guy who's got the second highest yards per attempt in the NFL, so this is someone with a lot of speed on the outside with Will Fuller and Brandon Cooks, who likes to take a lot of shots.
Randall Cobb.
He was unable to do that in this game, and the couple shots that he had down the field both sailed on him, and it just wasn't going to happen. We were already positioned for that, and the Texans were also at the disadvantage to where they're missing the number one back. They're able to lean on Duke Johnson, who I like a lot, and I thought they should have featured him more in the screen game,
attack.
In the short yardage game, which they evidently decided not to do because, as we said last episode, for some reason just no one knows how to use Duke Johnson for some reason. So they were at a disadvantage because they already didn't have a very strong rushing offense, and we did. And so this was a game we were able to lean on, and we do that with over 38 carries for Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt combined. And if you look at what the Texans did on offense, Deshaun Watson's one of the best quarterbacks in this NFL, and we were able to keep him contained. I mean, this was the definition of a bend but don't break defense. And while sometimes that hurts when they get a long drive going and the time of possession starts to tick-tock, at the end of the day, we're able to keep them out of the end zone. And they had a big old fat goose egg up until about 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter when Deshaun Watson was able to get him on a run. But by then, it was too little too late. We get the ball back. We're not letting them have it. And this was a game where we finally see the defense forcing some punts, and we finally see some 3-and-outs. How long has it been?
Definitely credit to the defense on that, because even though we did see that miracle drive where Deshaun had a couple crazy plays to set him up for the touchdown, other than that, a few times where he escaped from the defense, but for the most part, they played really well on contain and holding him back, where those plays kind of resulted in either a loss of yardage, a sack, or an incompletion. So credit to the defense for making making them have to focus on really that one dimension, which is the rushing attack, where they already had the weakness of missing their starting back, and like I said, the weather obviously making an impact there too. So huge for the Browns to be able to manage the game offensively and defensively, beat them in the time of possession. Nobody really committed any turnovers, but like you mentioned, where this defense normally is allowing those huge chunk plays, a lot of scoring situations, for the most part, we didn't have to rely on those turnovers to get the ball back to the offense. It came down to making them punt, which is I think kudos.
Making them punt is nice. This is a game where you sure it would have been great to force some more turnovers, a good old-fashioned Myles Garrett strip sack or an interception or anything like that. That didn't happen today, but at the end of the day, you can't really give the defense a hard time when they only allowed 7 points. So you kind of have to let it go. And this offense didn't turn the ball over either. And we were talking about, on our first attempt at this podcast, we were sorry. I thought that we were saying it earlier in the episode. It's all mixed up in my mind. Baker Mayfield in this game, you can tell, and this is kind of good and bad, but you can tell he's playing not to turn the ball over.
Sure.
And while you don't want your quarterback playing with, don't throw an interception in his mind, but at the same time, right now, I think that is what's best for the team, and you can tell that we're playing more conservative. Some people are mad about it on Twitter, but I don't care. We're playing conservative on offense. We're playing ball control. We have a great running attack, and we have a defense in this game and the previous game that's not allowing a shit ton of points. So it makes sense to play the field position game. And we've seen where in a game a few games ago against the Bengals and we fall down by a few points and we have to get into a shootout, we can do that. We can flip to that. But we want to be able to control the ball. We want to be able to lean on our running backs. And I think this all falls into developing Baker Mayfield. I think I've said it a million times, but you have to look at him as a rookie this year. You have to look at him, and I know Browns fans don't want to hear that and blah, blah, blah. I don't care. We have to take it slow with this guy. We have to develop him, and we have to get him in a position where, last year he threw over 20 interceptions. This year he's got 7 through 9 games. That's a huge improvement, and you need to do this in steps. He needs to get the offense down, get it comfortable, rely on the bell cows of this offense, especially now that we have OBJ out. You're just getting Hooper back from an injury. You have all those things working against you. We're starting 3 rookies on offense right now. Let him run the ball, and let's control the field position. Let's control time of possession, and I think that's what we did today. And we never did at any point. At no point in this game did the Texans ever have momentum.
Yeah.
By the time they
really, offensively, neither team.
Sure, that's fair. But by the time the Texans got momentum, It was too late.
And they couldn't get the ball back again.
It was too late.
Yeah, we talked about that final drive there from the Texans, being able to make that miraculous couple of plays and then get them down there and scoring their lone touchdown of the game. But then they really weren't able to get the ball again because we had the unselfish play of Nick Chubb. We mentioned that of course Nick Chubb would do that for his teammates, and he was obviously getting the recognition from them. Everyone was patting his helmet, but we've mentioned this before. We talked about Josh Allen and kind of what he's able to do now. We've talked about Josh Allen before because obviously that was a huge miss on our part. We thought he was going to be a total bust, and he's done really well. And even in this season, he's done great. Epic quarterback play. But what you've mentioned is what the Bills did with his development early on in his career, where he really didn't have to rely on his arm and the passing attack for them to generate offense. It was more about time of possession, controlling the football, not turning the ball over, and that got him wins and got them into the playoffs. And they got them to a point where now, as Josh Allen develops, they can utilize and depend on him more. And I think when you talk about Baker Mayfield being a rookie this year, it's fair. I think it's fair that he is a rookie in this system. And instead of us worrying about him having these 500 passing yard games where he's throwing multiple touchdowns every game, why not rely on a system that works where it's focus on time of possession, focus on field position, like all these things that you're mentioning, and obviously not turning the ball over and using these weapons, these two guys that we have that they can control every single game offensively. Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. And dude, this game started 37 minutes late and still basically ended with the rest of the 1 p.m. games because of all the running. So that's huge for this offense, and it's huge for this team in general, and it will get us wins, and I think it'll give us a playoff run here.
Yeah, we're firmly in it. I mean, 6-3 at this point in the season is absolutely mind-blowing. And to your point about Josh Allen, as I like to remind everyone all the time, is Josh Allen had never thrown for over 300 yards in a game going into this season. Mm-hmm. This year was the first time he was able to do it, and he's done it multiple times. He's played great. We were wrong on him. That's fine. I'm happy to be wrong with him.
Sure.
I pull for the Bills.
Sure.
But he went 2 full seasons without doing that, and in his third season under the same head coach, the same offensive coordinator, the same offensive system, etc., he's able to start putting up those games. So this stuff takes time, and when you have 2 great running backs, and it's like the past 20 years, all I've been hearing is like the Browns just need to run the football. Well, it's happening. It's happening in real time, and we're having a lot of success with it, and I think we're going to continue to have a lot of success with it. What's interesting is in games this year that Nick Chubb has played, we're now 5-1, which is pretty cool. So Nick Chubb in the lineups definitely
makes a difference.
Or 4-1. Sorry, 4-1. I got a little ahead, but still 4-1
still pretty epic.
Still 4-1 is really nice. So I know this game wasn't super exciting. We dealt with the elements. We're not putting a dome on the stadium. That's architecturally impossible. And if you want a domed stadium, you're going to have to wait at least 8 years, because that's how long we have left in our lease with the current stadium. So just saying, I'm smart, Browns are dumb, we should have a dome. It's like, okay,
sure.
The Browns could say right now, we're going to get a dome. Well, it's going to be like 8 to 10 years. So
well, why? The thing is, like, the weather and these types of games used to be part of the element of playing at Cleveland Browns Stadium and playing against the Browns.
Yeah, but now everyone's all soft.
So why?
So
we're playing football in Cleveland. It's supposed to be cold and miserable, and that's supposed to be an advantage for us.
Yes.
So a dome would be dumb.
And today it was an advantage for us, and I think
people forget we have a super young team, a rookie head coach,
4th youngest team.
They will learn to play in these elements as we keep. That's what consistency gets us.
Weird.
Whoa! I know we've never seen it before.
Weird.
But trust us, we'll get there. We'll get there, and these elements will be a benefit to us.
Yeah, and we're built to thrive in these elements.
Yeah,
we have the 4th youngest team in the NFL, a head coach that's I think he's 5 years younger than Tom Brady. Just for perspective, Kevin Stefanski is 5 years younger than Tom Brady as our head coach, and I think he's been doing a great job. But I think the reason we're a little bitter about the elements is because we've been bad for so long. So
sure.
When you're bad for a long time and you play a team and you lose and it's snowing, you're like, well, who cares? Like, what's the point?
Yeah, we've been used to complaining for about over a decade.
Yeah, about 20 years. And so, I think the elements are fun. I mean, it adds a different dynamic to it. Like, you and I have been to a bunch of Browns games where we're 2-10, and we're going to the stadium with 100 layers on, and we have getting drunk and having an awesome time. And those tailgates are my favorite. I miss tailgating. It sucks that all this bullshit makes it impossible. But, like, a cold weather tailgate is so much fun because you have all the layers on. You're huddled around grills. It's just like a different experience where without tailgating, like, for what reason would you just be outside like that? So, I don't know. It just makes for a cool experience. Sure. And then watching football in that weather, I don't know, man. It's unlike anything else you would ever do for fun, for better or worse. So I love it. I don't want no stinking dome. I think that's dumb. I like dealing with the lake, and I think we've built our team for that. And I think
these two guys, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome.
They became the first Browns teammates to each rush for 100 yards in the same game since Leroy Kelly and Ernie Green, October 8th, 1966.
Which is so crazy to me because you think it'd be Biner and Mack who would have done it in the 80s. That would have been my first guess.
Sure.
I would have thought they would have done it multiple times because I think it was in 1985. I don't remember exactly what year, but the two of them each went for over 1,000 yards. Right. And so you would think that they would have had multiple games in which they both went over 100, but that's not the case. So we see that today, and I want to see more of it going forward. I think obviously you want to see a little more scoring, but no turnovers and everything that comes with it is beautiful, and that's a winning situation regardless of the weather, whether we're in a dome or the weather's great or whatever it is. And you got to think, if we're going to be a run first team, then the bad weather benefits us. So wanting a dome, you're almost saying you don't want to have a ground advantage. So I don't know. A lot of ways to look at it. Did you confirm? Was it 1985?
Yeah, it was 1985 when they both had over
1,000 yards?
1,000 yards.
Nice.
But I feel like maybe I'm looking at this wrong, but
I want to play like Browns trivia sometime. I feel like I would do.
Okay, that's why I'm.
I feel like I would do well. While you do that, I'm going to get into my final thoughts for the game. I think I kind of touched on a lot of the key elements here, but I still believe in Baker a lot. He didn't turn the ball over. I think he's going to continue to improve and grow in this offense. I think Nick Chubb is the best running back in the NFL. I don't care what anyone says. That I truly believe it 1,000%. You can make an argument for guys who maybe do more catching of the football. I don't care. I'm talking about running back. If I could pick anyone to hand the football to, it's Nick Chubb by a million miles. I don't care what anybody says, and I love watching him play, and it was so good getting him back today, and I love that we can balance him with Kareem Hunt. I think that's a recipe for victory. I think Denzel Ward on defense is still really strong. I think Myles Garrett is a force to be reckoned with. Got a half sack today, had a tackle for loss on a big fourth down.
Sheldon Richardson played really well today. Nice. Mack Wilson was there defensively.
So what we're seeing
a little more often than we're used to.
What we're seeing that we've never seen with the Browns is we have superstar players that make plays in big moments. Mm-hmm. You can talk about the lack of talent for a million years with the Browns. I get that, and the bad coaching and the quarterback play, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we've never had big-time players make big-time plays, and that's what you need to have in the NFL. And we've had that all season long, and as a result, while it hasn't been sexy every game, and we've had our down moments, at the end of the day, we're 9 games through the season, and we're sitting here at 6-3, and we're able to win an ugly game like we did today, and I'm glad because we lost an ugly game to the Raiders and then we won an ugly game today against the Texans, and I think we needed that to bounce back from that. And Nick Chubb's my favorite player. That's my final thought. I'll say it again.
Nick Chubb is the man. There ain't no denying that.
Oh, dude, he's the Batman.
Well, my final thoughts are pretty much the same. I'm just happy we have the running back duo that we do. I mean, that we can rely on these two guys to make the difference game in and game out, because obviously having Nick Chubb, having Wyatt Teller, having these pieces back, we saw the difference it can make on 2 games really where the conditions were very similar. And obviously Baker Mayfield mentioned that the win today was probably even worse than it was against the Raiders. Huge to see that having these pieces back makes the difference in what we're able to do offensively and even what we're able to do defensively, because we know we got Myles Garrett at as close to 100% as he probably can get coming off of the bye. So just great to be in the position that we're in. I think we'll see the Browns going to the playoffs this year, and I believe that more and more. And we talked a lot about the expectation from the fan base. Is a lot of times you'll see people be like, well, if the Browns can just have 9 wins on the season, I'm happy.
9-7, that would be incredible.
Just 9-7, get me 9 wins, be competitive, I'm happy. And then they're the main, top complainers on Twitter about what we're doing, whether we're too conservative or we're making too many mistakes, whatever the case may be. Well, this is the type of football I want to see the Browns play. And so far right now, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but on episode 120, our NFL schedule prediction, I had us losing this game, and I had us being so far on the season 5-4. You were a little bit crazy. You thought we'd be 7-2, but that's always you. Try to be a little bit more realistic.
That's still pretty close, though.
Still pretty close.
We should have beat the Raiders. We would be 7-2. I'm just saying.
Sure. But to think that my expectation was us being 5-4 at this point in the season, we're above my expectations. The Browns have never done that. The Browns are never above my expectation. So I'm totally happy with what we're seeing.
And we have a very winnable schedule coming up, which we'll get into next episode. But we have the Eagles, the Jaguars.
And then it gets tough with Tennessee and Baltimore. But
Tennessee
then we have the Jets. We have Giants.
Yeah, the Giants who just beat the Eagles. We have to play the Titans, who are one of the top teams, but they just lost to the Colts. So we beat the Colts. I mean, it can go, it can go a few different ways.
It can go either way, yeah.
NFL
every week is a new week, and every team is harder than we give them credit. So
every time. We can't sleep on the Eagles neither. So that's what we'll be breaking down next episode. Make sure you tune into that. But before we do that, we got to redo these hashtag Kennel quick predict.
Well, we never
reveals.
did the quick predicts, but we'll do the quick predicts reveal.
Quick predict.
Quick predicts.
Hashtag Kennel Quick Predicts. Make sure you use the hashtag Kennel Quick Predicts if you want to participate. We do these every week, and we give imaginary points, and you can use them as cryptocurrency or Walmart credits. They work at Walmart. Anyways, on Twitter, we had KCK participating at KC_Kinnaman, Dan Berger at _Land1, and then Brian Evansick switched over from, normally he's on YouTube, back to Twitter, or I guess he started on Twitter, then he started hitting us up on YouTube, now he's back to Twitter, so at Brian_Evansick, and then a YouTube participant, Francisco, from, where was he from? Portugal. Yes.
Yes.
Our dude. Thanks for participating again on YouTube. So let's get started. Myles Garrett sacks, the first one.
Everyone loses.
Only had a half a sack. Maybe that'll get corrected because
it should have been a full sack.
It should be a full sack.
As far as I'm concerned.
Sheldon Richardson would say different, but whatever. Half a sack, so nobody gets points there. Easy peasy.
A lot of guys saying 3, which I respect.
Fair enough. You and I went with a respectable 2, which is pretty normal for Myles Garrett, and thought I think early in the game we were both like, yeah, that's 2 sacks. Good. We're at our prediction.
Well, the QB sneak by Deshaun Watson on 4th down
ended up being considered a tackle for loss.
To me, anytime you tackle the quarterback behind the line of scrimmage, as far as I'm concerned, that should be a sack.
Sure, but technically he was a runner. It was the wildcat play. Wildcat formation.
I get it, but I'm just saying.
So anyways, everyone loses. No points there. Next one, Nick Chubb stat line. Nick Chubb went for 19 carries, 126 yards, and a touchdown.
A lot more than I thought we would see him. I was pretty conservative in my estimation of 12 carries, 70 yards, and a touchdown.
I was pretty gosh darn close. 14 carries, 122 yards, and a touchdown. I expected a similar usage theory that we were going with. We were saying he was going to be used sparingly because of the coming back from injury, but I suspected he would have a huge run to put him at over 100 yards, which he did.
He did indeed.
And he got pretty close. So points for me.
Points for you, and I get some points because I said a touchdown.
No points.
I get some points.
No points.
One single point for the touchdown.
Points for me.
1 point for the touchdown.
And I am the winner.
And I get a point for the touchdown.
Casey Kinnaman out of our participants. He is the closest with 18 carries and 102 yards. He did
112 yards.
112 yards. He did go over with 2 touchdowns, but
we make up the rules as we go.
And he's, by far the closest. So KCK, points for KCK, and points for me.
Zing zing.
Anyways, next, Baker Mayfield, over under 1 touchdown.
I was eccentric. I said over with 3.
I was also expecting a big game.
But I also didn't know that the weather was going to be what it was. That's not
because we're here to talk about the Browns and not the weather.
We're not weathermen. And we're like, we do this like 4 days before the game, so it's kind of impossible to know.
That is also a determining factor. Anyways.
Everyone loses with Dan Berger.
I went over with 2, and the actual was under, so no touchdowns for Baker. And the only person that guessed it correct, Dan Berger. So points for Dan Berger.
That's right.
Next, Austin Hooper, over under 3 receptions. 3.6 receptions per game is his average up to this before this game. So we both went with over. We expected him to have a big return.
He had
post appendectomies.
Yep, he had 5 catches in 3 consecutive games. So I thought 3 would be no problem.
Same for me. I was going for over there, but he went under. Only had 1 single reception for I think 12 yards or 22 yards.
11 yards, 10 yards,
something like
12.
That. Anyways, no points for us, but Dan Berger, lone under.
Dan Berger strikes again.
Dan Berger strikes again. Points for Dan Berger. And then final score, Week 10. Everyone really loses in the sense that we all expected
way more points. Yeah.
Dan Berger was really the only one that expected the Texans to only score 8. Which how would the Texans? I guess
they could go for 2.
They could have gone for 2, or it could be a missed extra point and then a safety.
There's a couple ways to get there. Yeah, sure.
But still, no points for anyone in that sense, but points for everyone
because everyone said the Browns would win.
Yeah,
just like every week, us and everyone who participates predicts a Browns
victory. It was not the case last season. We've been at it for 2 seasons now of Kennel Quick Predicts, and it has not always been the case that Browns fans always pick the Browns to win.
But we're much better now.
So we're much better now. Well, that's what I'm saying.
The team is.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's a sign of the times. It's the fact that we're actually competitive.
The tides have turned.
The Browns are good, and it's fun to watch them, and it's not out of the realm of possibility to predict them for wins.
That's right. And I want to do a quick shout out. Our friend Parker, who typically participates in the kind of Quick Predicts, didn't this week, but he had a child today.
Congratulations.
So congratulations, Tim, Parker, and and enjoy being a father. And make sure you participate in the next Quick Predicts, because now the child's out, and I guess that's even a better excuse to not have time to participate. But you should.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Ask your child.
Yeah, see what she thinks.
She might be able to help.
Yeah, just like whatever. Just
build a custom Braille board or something.
Let her tap on the phone or something.
Yep.
It's kind of like God could speak through her.
Exactly. So the winners of hashtag Kennel Quick Predicts for this week
are me.
Dan Berger and me, wearing my Nick Chubb jersey. I unselfishly walked into the end zone. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
I'm going in for the touchdown.
I would have got in. I'm going in.
I'm patting those stats. I win. Points for me. Points for Dan Berger. Points for everyone because the Browns win.
It was funny. Stefanski and Myles Garrett said they wouldn't have been mad at him if he ran into the end zone. They would have been like...
Yeah, Sheldon Richardson said, I would have scored.
Yeah.
He said, I was like, I don't know. I would have patted my stats. I was going to get right in there.
Nick Chubb is too
He's like,
pure.
Put us up 2 positions? I don't give a...
Yeah, Nick Chubb is too pure, though.
Yeah.
He plays for the W's.
Yep.
God, I love that man. All right, cool. So I think that's about enough for today. We got through it again.
Technically, we did 2 episodes. So you guys get 1. We did 2.
Yeah, we deserve some kind of crazy bonus points for that, for sure.
Points for both of us.
Probably mostly for me.
Points for both of us.
All right, we'll do both of us. That's fine.
I still win this week.
A little bit of pity points. All right.
I still win this week.
All right.
In Quick Predicts, but I lose in life.
Yeah, well.
Not really. My life is great.
I think
I'm doing great. Yeah, life is great. But
all good. Today, though. All right.
But when we talk about the Browns won.
Going back and forth. I'm really struggling with this. He needs help.
It's a tough decision. It's a tough situation.
I'm looking up therapists. I'll let you guys know.
I'll be all right.
In the meantime, we'll see you guys in a few days for our pregame episode against the Philadelphia Eagles. Carson Wentz, who we didn't draft because...
Revenge game? ?
Because Paul D. Podesta or whoever it was, Sashi Brown, someone said that they didn't believe he was going to be a top 10 quarterback. And
I think it was Sashi Brown. Yeah, it was a big deal.
And this season, he's not. He's actually one of the worst quarterbacks. So should be interesting. Definitely a game we can't lose. We're going to break it all down.
Thank you for your sacrifice, Sashi Brown.
That's right.
Rest in peace.
So we're going to break it all down in a few days. We'll see you then.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.